What about
Um,
Buffalo?
so they and I do so I haven't even gotten to do any research. So literally I'll tell you about my day really quick and I'll tell you about Buffalo. Like it's all connected. So anyway, I went out with some boys last night, got pretty spooky. I got probably home at like 3 in the morning. So I slept in today. Then I woke up and I went straight to I woke up at like 11:30 and I went straight to Kung Fu. And then when I got done, and I had my phone on fuck off mode since like 2 days ago. So like I wasn't getting any texts or not. Like I was getting them, but I wasn't I wasn't realizing that I was getting them. Anyway, so like I get home around fucking 2 o'clock, right? 2:30, and I got all these texts, and everyone's been calling me and shit. And apparently there was a car on the Peace Bridge, or no, not the Peace Bridge, the Rainbow Bridge that
Which
connects
is
Niagara Falls to Canada. Because there's two. There's the Peace Bridge, which goes from Buffalo to Canada, and then there's the Rainbow Bridge, which goes from Niagara Falls to Canada. And that there was a car that exploded. It was a bomb. It was a vehicle-borne ID, whatever the case. It was it exploded, so they shut down traffic on both. They shut down both bridges going to and from Canada, and the FBI is there and they're investigating it. And of course, Kathy Hochul, that fucking bitch, is going to spend a bunch of tax money flying here so she can deal with fucking the cops and stuff. So anyway, that's going on, and it's obviously, as you know, the day before Thanksgiving, 2 days before Black Friday, um, and they literally had a terrorist attack about 15 minutes from where I grew up. Fucking crazy
dude,
shit.
that's massive. I can't believe I haven't. I mean, I wasn't really looking at the news today, but I can't. I do have. Uh, oh wait, hold on. I think it popped up from the Guardian. U.S. Canada border crossing closed after vehicle
Yep,
explosion at checkpoint. Holy
yep,
shit,
there it
dude!
is.
That's huge. What you
Yeah,
just said.
and absolutely, dude. And that's the thing too. I didn't even, like I said, since I had like a late night and a crazy morning today, I really didn't even know what was going on. Um,
I had no
but like
idea.
even shit like that, that's gonna affect like, because obviously I do armed security for work, and that's gonna even affect that. Um, they've got all kinds of fucking what was I gonna say? All kinds of things are going to happen effects are going to happen because of this. And like I said, Kath, so the governor of New York's coming to Buffalo, which is obviously fuck her, nobody likes her, but that's right down the street from me is the airport. So airport security is going to be heightened, and traffic's going to be you know busier, and then she's going to go to Buffalo, waste a bunch of money, whatever the case. So I don't know, dude.
Dude, so this
And
is
I didn't
so
even really get that
wild.
much time. I just yeah, I wish I had more time to like figure out what was going on before getting on the
Well,
podcast.
if no one joins, I'll let you go, and then I'll send out a message and restart it at 6:30. It doesn't have to be because I can't. I just text Flood too, where he was, and he hasn't joined. But real quick, back to this, dude. This is wild. So it says what I'm reading is that the car which has been considered a possible VBIED, which is a vehicle. I don't know.
Vehicle borne in
Yeah,
improvised
vehicle born.
explosive device.
Yep. So we'll say that, and it was speeding from the U.S. side towards Canada, and it swerved to avoid. It says the Guardian, which I really like the Guardian. Um, okay, it said I don't want to mess it up. Okay, it said the vehicle was speeding toward the crossing from the U.S. side of the border when it swerved to avoid another car, crashed into a fence, and exploded. Uh, so essentially, from what I'm reading, it wasn't a chosen location to detonate the device, the car. Which, so for all we know right now, it could have either been an IED that they had in there that they planned on getting somewhere and moving to a location and then detonating, or they were going to run the car into something else, because it doesn't sound like it was speeding and avoided
So
a car, you know?
those are my thoughts exactly, is that was not meant to go the way it did, or if so, then all it is a distraction, which we know is definitely possible. But those are my exact thoughts, that there's no way that somebody sent this plan for this to happen so that a vehicle could simply blow up, kill two people, and cause the bridge to get shut down for maybe a day or so at the
That's
most.
what I was going to
And
say,
because
because
they didn't do any damage like to the actual bridge, so if they wanted to get rid of that,
right,
they'd have to actually damage the bridge itself, because a car, you can clear that realistically, and get, if need be, you could clear that in a few minutes and traffic would be moving. So, and then the other thing is, like you said, it was speeding and then appeared to like swerve and obviously not hit its target. Like, it obviously was prematurely
just hit the side of the
detonated.
bridge.
So what was it? If that's the case, then what was it? Where was it planning? And who wanted the bridges shut down? Who wanted the flow of traffic to stop? And or is it
And
just a
why in
distraction?
Canada,
Distraction, and
you
from
know?
what?
And why in Canada? What's in Canada? Maybe it was supposed to, dude, what if it was supposed to blow? Is there a dam on Canada's side? No, it's on our side. I don't know, man. That's crazy to think of. So anyhow,
And
what
that's
I was going to say
interesting too,
too,
because what I heard was that it was on its way from Canada to New York. So that's interesting. But
maybe it's just because
what
what you
were you gonna
said
say? Yeah,
was,
go
and
on.
what I'm reading is like it doesn't seem like the bridge was permanently disabled. It seems intact, and you furthered that
Mhm.
whenever you talked about it. But they definitely disabled it for probably the holiday, depending on where
Yeah.
this investigation leads. So if the bridge was, which it doesn't look like this bomb was supposed to go off on that bridge, but if it was, they did do a good job of disabling it for a couple of days. What if it was just like a father who had like a daughter who was marrying a Canadian dude, and he's like, I don't want that dude here for Thanksgiving. So he like just took his car and ID to pause
That's what I
that, you
was
know?
thinking, right? What, like, was it just some Canadians who um are sick of Americans celebrating
No, it
Thanksgiving
was coming
and
from
Black Friday
America.
shopping? Right.
Oh, and
Well,
Black Prod, you're right. They come down here.
yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
a lot of
or
people don't
vice
know that.
versa. Yeah. So I don't know. It's just weird. Like, yeah. Did somebody, like, was their goal, like, did it go similarly to how they wanted it to? Meaning, was their goal just to get the traffic on the bridge, shut down for maybe a couple days until they investigate? And if so, yeah, why? Because, like I said, the one that goes from Buffalo to Canada is also shut down.
Yeah, right. I agree that we're all wondering who and why, because you're so right. Like it could have been a Canadian citizen, you know. Maybe they even backed out of doing something this week. Who knows? But we want to know
And
who and why.
and
But
I
a lot of
gotta, yeah,
people
I
have to.
just like, I don't want to fucking I'll tell you what, like, if I could just see the demographic of the person, that would tell me like a lot too. You do know what I'm saying? Like, if it was a white guy,
I
that would tell me a
disagree.
lot. If
There's.
it was, if like, no, I'm saying, like,
I would
it's just,
still have the same amount of questions, just because, like,
oh no,
and
absolutely.
then
I'm
plus
just saying,
like
like, I
sleeper
do want to
agents.
see.
A sleeper agent could be anyone. Like that's
I want to
wild.
know if this was like some fucking broccoli haired fucking white 19-year-old. You know what I mean? I want to know if it was someone from the Middle East. Like, I want to know what they look like, and who they are, and what they were aiming for, what they were trying to do.
Yeah, dude, I agree. I agree. But what so reading this article now, if like someone just saw this and they're looking into it, um, what you need to understand too, the border up here between Canada and America, especially right there by Niagara Falls, it's constantly traveled by both US and Canadian citizens, but mostly Canadian citizens coming into America, especially during the holidays, like right now with Black Friday deals running. The taxes are so high in Canada that even without deals like that going on, like beginning of school years, you'll see a lot of families driving down from Canada into America to go to our shopping outlets near the border just to dress their kids for school because the taxes are so high in Canada. So any mass amount of purchasing is usually done by Canadians in America. Therefore, we get a lot of traffic coming through. But I just wanted to
And
make that comment.
no, I'm glad you added that because that's important to like you said, Thanksgiving and I mean not Thanksgiving. Canada comes here for reasons, for specific reasons, and just like we go there for completely different reasons. Like on the Canadian for anyone who's not been to Niagara Falls on either side, they are night and day difference. On the American side, there's there's the better view of the falls, and we've got Maid of the Mist, you've got the casino, and you've got the Hard Rock Cafe. You really don't have much other than walking the actual Niagara Falls trails, or to the trails through the gorge and stuff. That stuff you
Right.
can do on our side, and then like you said, but then you have Canadians coming over specifically this time of year to shop.
But
Whereas
they have
on
all
the
that real
Canadian
cool
side,
attraction stuff, right?
yeah,
Like they have the Ripley's and like the casinos right there, right on the Canadian side. Like,
right, and that's what I'm saying. And on the Canadian side, it's a complete 180. They have restaurants, they have arcades, they have haunted houses all year round, they have bars, they have tattoo shops, everything. It's so different on that side. And everyone knows this side is super fucking ghetto and people get fucking shot all the time. Like Niagara Falls is like the new Chicago. I've told Morozak that like it's terrible there, but yeah, no, there's so many differences of why they come here and why we go there, and it's important that I like that you pointed out because yeah, we go there for totally different reasons, and it's a good
yeah,
time over
dude.
there.
And it's kind of funny how like if you almost picture it, like picture the border and half of Canada and half in America in a box, and then make that a quadrant, right? So like having this quadrant, Toronto, because uh Toronto, that's where Niagara Falls is, right?
Ontario,
Ontario. So in this, but
but
Toronto
Toronto's
would be
close.
there too,
Toronto's like 2 hours.
right?
Toronto's like 2 hours.
But then put, Buffalo and like that portion of New York and Pennsylvania and the lower quadrant there. Then over here, those quadrants, you'll have like for in the northern hemisphere of it, you'll have hemisphere. It's nice, whatever. You'll have like Alberta and British Columbia, and then you'll have down here, like, yeah, there's Washington and Oregon, I guess, but more like Sacramento and stuff. Like you flip the roles. So you've got city and Ontario right there with, the wilderness of Pennsylvania and New York in this lower quadrant. Then if the catty corner from them is, Alberta and British Columbia, probably the best freaking nature to walk, and hike and explore, and probably minimal stores and cities, metro areas, whereas, but I haven't been, so I don't know. Then you got California and Seattle and all of them in the lower quadrant over there. It was kind of a silly thing, but it's flip-flopped.
Um, Fucking yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah, you kind of lost me there when you started talking about quadrants. Um,
Right.
Fucking no, but
All I'm
I
saying is
there
from
is like other shit to there. Like if you're, were you trying to say like there's a lot of other stuff to do up in Canada, which causes more traffic and shit?
so if you were planning a vacation, right?
Right.
And that vacation was to either sweep across Canada west to east or sweep
Hmm.
across Pennsylvania west to east, right? Of those, if you chose to sweep across for vacation Canada west to east, you would run into like all the cities, the biggest cities. Well, Ed, you can't take this too literal, right? Like this was just what my head was seeing was the cities, and then as you move west, dude. If I said come, did I say come west to east or east to west?
You said west to east.
Sorry, I do mean east to west.
Oh boy. Now you gotta start
So
all over, dude.
I
Now you
know.
gotta
So
start all over.
you're moving across Canada east to west. So from Toronto,
Are
Ontario,
you comparing them like
into
they're similar?
into British Columbia, right?
Yeah.
To end the
Yep.
vacation, which is as far west Canada you can go. You would move through cities like partying and stuff into the wilderness. Now, I said don't take this too literal because America is just a big melting pot of it all. But if you were to do the same thing south in America and move across the east to west, yeah, like I know you have New York, but you're going to hit more of the rural area and then move into much more populated area as you get like west, But I know there's a lot of technicalities, like technicals with that, because there's obviously the whole Midwest is like nothing, and then California and Oregon still have a lot of wilderness too. It was a stupid thought.
You're good, dude. No, I like when you get going, I like to hear what's going on in that big ass head. Like that head is enormous, and I want to know what's going on in there. Like
what'd you think of that video?
melon.
What's up, Brian?
I know that because like there's no way it could just be empty, I know there's like so much going on, and there's like it's like there's like a multiverse inside your head because it's so big.
Actually, you're so wrong. All that's in my head is this like little dude sitting next to a campfire, like beating on a rock with like a hammer. And then he has a thought, and then I just say that shit,
What's up, guys?
How you doing, brother?
Oh, yo.
Good. I'm commuting, so I can't be on camera right now. But
yeah, no worries.
I'm actually gonna hop off for once. Like I'll be here, but I'm just gonna exit the camera for 2 minutes. But I'm still here.
Sounds good. Yeah, dude. So how are you commuting back from work?
Yeah, I went downtown for a little bit.
Awesome,
like
man.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Okay. Yeah, we were just talking about it was good, man. I haven't done too much yet. I was kind of just shared some word with people this morning and then figured I had to move this back, so that kind of threw a wrench in. But it's all great. It's all gravy.
Good, man. What were you guys talking about?
Yeah, so we were just BSing before getting ready, and what that kind of mentioned about Hamas and Israel, and Mr. Popper or Poppin or whatever that thing is, had mentioned it or Buffalo today. Did you hear about the incident in Buffalo with you in the U.S. border, Niagara Falls area?
No, what happened?
Dude, so what happened was there was this vehicle. It was speeding from the U.S. side to the Canadian side over Rainbow Bridge, which is a bridge that connects both the countries together right above Niagara Falls, right?
Okay.
And this vehicle, from what I read and just found out kind of investigating it, it doesn't seem like the explosion, this vehicle was speeding across and exploded on the bridge. It's a vehicle-borne IED. Like that's what the media is labeling it as. The FBI is there and everything right now. The accident, how it occurred with the vehicle speeding across the bridge, swerving to miss and avoid another vehicle, and then slamming into the side of the bridge. That's what ended up detonating that bomb. Yeah, it's kind of wild. So we were talking about that.
Was someone in the car, or was it self-driving?
It says 2 people are dead. I don't know if those were bystanders or people driving. I didn't read anything. I don't think it was self-driving, but that would be some shit.
I'm thinking in the future that's going to be some shit. They're just going to send a self-driving car into any random location, into parades, into buildings. I mean, that's going to be crazy. How do you stop?
Dude, I don't know. Like, yeah, as far as the weight and stuff goes, like that would be great, but we're already past that. People have the capability with I hate to say it because I have one hanging right behind me, but I have a drone, dude.
Yeah.
Like I have a drone.
You could literally drop it.
With that.
You could literally throw some grenades on the drone and just drop it and fly it over a mall and have them drop.
Right. However, I guess with what you're saying too, Brian, you get a lot more kinetic energy. So if you don't want it stopped as easily, put it in a car, but also probably longevity of range. Like your range is probably much further in a car that.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. That's the only hindering thing about a drone. You can only take it so far.
Yeah, anything we can afford, at least, Whereas a Tesla for this purpose is well within the means of a lot of Americans, or Canadians, whoever did it, whatever whoever.
Yeah, terrorism is it's just gonna become more and more complex between like cybersecurity and AI and Things like, I mean, just that self-driving cars, drones,
Right. And they're
crazy.
catching on, but that's what we're seeing at such a serious rate right now. You're like, we're talking about not only the things we can control uh and away from the device, but also what AI is doing. Then you got the side that the government is already coming at everyone with,
Get it
trying to
back in 1
control
minute,
this
boys.
thing. So like you've got all of these activities and responses happening around. Like, dude, it's gonna be crazy. Quick.
Yeah.
Quick.
Oh, yeah.
I actually I got pretty big into the artificial intelligence and like it being used, up for much more than just the war in Israel and between Israel and Hamas. But I was looking into it for that, which kind of took me into like, I don't know if people understand how damaging AI could be to everything. Because but one of those things is I found a profile on Instagram of this girl. She has an OnlyFans and everything, right? But it's an artificial intelligence. It's all
Wow.
artificial intelligence, And
Yeah.
I actually say that because I want to show some guys later kind of an honest. So I ended up looking into this profile after learning ways to decipher different photos, not just girls, like even pictures of tigers. Some other stuff is really hard to tell. That's going to be an issue. Like a car being wrecked, like it's much harder for me to decipher if that was AI generated compared to a person. But what I was going to show with this profile of this girl is like, I wanted to see if it would fool some guys into thinking it was real because I caught it right away, after learning these kind of like techniques. Basically, the biggest technique too to identifying is light in the eyes. Artificial has a trouble right now generating how that looks, you know. So, and then, dude, it's wild, man. Like that's fucked. Like this thing has a
Yeah.
profile feeding. Like I'm about to go. I could go start 15 different OnlyFans profiles just by taking pictures of rooms and then inserting this artificially generated chick in it,
Yeah. Get tips.
Yeah, dude.
I'm sure some people already are making money that way. Absolutely.
I'm sure someone's driving the one that I found on Instagram,
Yeah.
it's
That's probably not
guaranteed.
the only one. Yeah.
Or if it was doing it for itself, like that would be I wouldn't even know where to go with that,
Yeah, I doubt that.
Right.
Yeah,
That's
crazy.
a really scary thought. Like
Yeah.
this something has it material, I don't know, whatever. But oh man, it scares the shit out of me. And that's kind of like I can't wait to dive into that with some more opinions around because it's been fascinating me. Recently with especially like Hamas and Israel going on, it's just bringing questions that we had prior to this to fruition, because you've got a lot of desperate sides now reaching for different resources and techniques, tactics,
Oh yeah.
just like any war. World War II did it.
Of course.
Now it's this. But
I know.
have you been following much of that?
Honestly, not much at all. I mean, I haven't really followed any of it. The Russia, Ukraine. I haven't followed much of this. Not at all, man. I
I'm
mean,
having a
besides what
big
I see here, whatever. I follow what's his name? Bill Ackman, who's
okay.
a multi-billionaire hedge fund manager, and
Right.
he was considered the next Warren Buffett or whatever back in the day. I think Forbes posted him on their magazine that way, and he
Right.
posts a lot about the current war. So I kind of see that on Twitter. But besides that, that's it.
That's awesome, dude. That's so what you do, I really envy. Like how you're able to stay so focused and so primed on your thing because I keep like juggling a thought lately. It's like this information that I'm getting it's really scary and like what it aligns with. And it's like, all of time has been like that. And
Oh yeah,
and that's like so the thought I've been struggling with is like, am I just falling into this conspiracy trap right now? Or like, is there's clearly a war going on there right now,
Right.
I'm not saying that's a conspiracy, but like the other reality is politicians in America and all these other countries really are trying, like between Russia and that going on, plus Israel and Hamas, and the biggest thing too that just happened was 2 days ago. Can't remember. North Korea sent up a freaking ICBM that had a spy satellite on it. We weren't really concerned about the spy satellite that they sent up, but the rocket that they used was illegal because that rocket is, even though it's just the device, like that that the satellite piggybacked on,
Right.
it's still it was still used, and that's considered an act of war. It shut down Japan whenever they launched it because Japan went into a missile shelter, it was crazy, dude. And it's a problem. But anyhow, with all that stuff happening, I know like where that goes, and that has not happened since the 1930s,
Yeah.
And it pulls my focus. And what I worry about is like, I sit here and I spread a message of fear whenever I want to support, because a big change I think that's going to have to happen, should all of this kind of melt into what I'm thinking it is that families are going to have to be ready to carry their own, dude. It's going to be bad. And I don't know what kind of way that means. I don't think building a bomb shelter under your house is the correct way about going to this, or going to Walmart and building yourself a bug out bag right now. That's not what I'm putting my stamp on. I'm not sure what it is, but I'm saying to take a look at your vulnerabilities because some stuff might happen. But anyhow, I don't want to push that or waste my time focusing on that if we're just going to pull through. Okay. And I just don't think it is like that right now.
Right. Yeah. I don't know either. I have zero idea, but
right.
I don't
MBU.
think like, I was gonna say, I don't think like any of the countries are a direct threat to any of us. As
we're a very hard country to get to.
Right. I think the biggest threat is going to be your neighbor, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
The people that you live near, the people that know that you have something that they need or want, especially when they get desperate. People do crazy things in desperate times. So I think between the pressures and the stress of, international things that are going on with the war and others, and then you look at the pressures from a financial standpoint that are coming down the pipeline, and potentially 25 to 33% unemployment and bankruptcies and just hard times ahead, on top of, like you were mentioning, the wars. Who knows, man? Who knows? But yeah, I think the threat to you and I and Alex and my wife would be like, your neighbor, and making sure you get to know them well. And if you don't know them well, just be prepared to defend your household just in case. But hey, I do have to run. I appreciate the time.
Yeah, man. Thank you. I appreciate you. And real quick before you piece, just so I can add it, is that it really is. So you just nailed everything. I totally agree with you. And it comes down to being a good person and hoping that nothing comes back your way to make your time a little easier, through anything that did happen. But also, dude, it's beautiful how you're able to stay so focused. It really is. Like, it's also, if everyone was like you, we wouldn't have these issues.
Yeah,
Kyra said love, self-love. So
right.
Any more love in the world.
Right. But all right, take off. Love you guys.
All right, man. Love you too. Bye.
That's it. Bye.
Sounds like I missed something good.
You didn't miss nothing.
Fucking.
Baby. You came in at the right time though.
So just to add to what we were talking about, I don't know if I'd already mentioned this, or if you did, I missed it, but the entire Canadian border shut down, I guess. Not just the two bridges in from Buffalo and Niagara Falls, but it's apparently the entire Canadian and American border, like, it's shut down. So, which means there's a lot of Americans over there and a lot of Canadians over here right now.
Yeah.
Stuck. So Very
a
interesting.
I really wanted to dive into this more with more cast, but you and I shall suffice. I'm going to cut that out. But
Yeah.
so with Hamas and Israel right now, that's what's kind of really intriguing me is the current news, which as of today, there was a ceasefire between Hamas and Israel for 4 days, is what's been agreed on, brokered through America, of course, right? Um, Part of this deal is the release of it's like 150 Palestinian um, uh, prisoners. So because they brokered that in, I'm assuming a lot of those, or at least some key elements, even if it's only a few, are they are basically their Hamas leadership that has been imprisoned, or at least a resource. That person is a resource to Hamas. And they asked for 150 Palestinians so that they can't identify who those Hamas actors are. And then for Israel, 50 Israeli prisoners are supposed to be handed over, which three of those people are Americans and one baby. One is with the baby. But what's fucking crazy about that? What sucks? And this is from chanting. You got to understand, this is from the world stage chanting like Palestine and so just to make it clear too on sides, I stand with Palestinian people. The problem right now is Hamas is intertwined with these people, and you can't tell typically from a Palestinian and someone who's acting under Hamas. They're typically the same culture, right? So that's from the world stage chanting, because what needed to happen, and it's just like freaking ISIS and all of these terrorists, if you give them a chance to breathe while you suppress them, they just learn from you. They just learn and they come back. It's the same reason we had to put freaking mine sweeps on the front of our vehicles, is because after so long, these pressure plates on IEDs in Iraq, they got smart, and instead of putting the actual explosive device, what they did was they walked how many paces it took to get from the mine sweep on the front of the vehicle to the cab of the vehicle, and all they did was put the pressure plate that many feet in front of the bomb. Like that's the kind of people we're working with. They don't change. They just want to come back and kill you even worse, right?
Yeah, they adapt for sure. They
that's all they
literally
do.
adapt.
There's words for it that I can't think. But anyhow, Israel was fucking them up, and unfortunately, it's so unfortunate. Palestinians are dying with this, but there's no way about shutting this off than and we just gave them a break to regroup. This is where, especially Islamic proxy groups strive. They strive after an intense battle, and they get a break because they learn. They're so good at adapting. They're just figuring out. So this is the last thing we want to do. But what also boggles me is all of the aid that has ever been given to the Palestinians. It's not given to Israel to distribute to the Palestinians, right? It's given to the Palestinians, and it is Hamas who runs the Palestinians, and that's not what people realize, because all of this aid, and that was agreed in this 4-day broker deal, was that Palestine, every time you read Palestine receives 50 fucking million in aid, that goes straight into Hamas' hands, straight in. So that was brokered into the deal too. So now Hamas getting 150 prisoners from Israel, a 4-day ceasefire. They were getting fucked up, no doubt about it. I wouldn't even doubt there's probably been not one single Israeli soldier fatality in a battlefield effort. I would not be surprised. And then you're giving them 50 fucking million with that 4-day. Like, what the fuck? What the fuck? So we just like rebirthed this thing. We almost had it under control, but
That's a good point. Yeah, that's a good fucking point to think about. Um, dude, it's got every like obviously it's a huge thing. It's like, I mean, is it a religious war? Would you consider it a religious war?
it's absolutely a religious war.
That's what I
Tim
thought.
Kennedy, I
So,
was listening to him on the
because
Joe
not
Rogan show
every
earlier, and I
yeah.
verified this. But you can literally track their lineage, Hamas, as well as like the other. So Hamas is just an Iranian proxy group. For anyone who doesn't know, it's an Iranian. It's just like freaking Wagner was for Russia. It's a group that is funded by the state, and it basically goes in and does the bidding so that the finger can't be pointed back to an actual country's military. So like Wagner's been working a lot in Africa. Russia's queen, right? Same with these guys. Um, where was I going with that? I felt like I had to peel off to make sure people understood that.
You
Oh,
were
Tim
saying
Kennedy. What
how
he said earlier was you can track Hamas and these other Iranian proxy groups back to the Butifa or some guys, which were basically Islamic people in during the 1930s who went to Hitler and was like, how do we solve this Jewish problem down here? Right.
oh right, that's yeah, the connection to
Eh,
the being a religious war, right?
yes. So that's where it started. And that's still what it is. That's
So
exactly. It's
that's
a religious war. That's the only reason they want everyone dead. They're starting with the Jews, though. They want us dead as Christians, you know?
um and so that's I was gonna kind of say that I feel like that it is a religious war, and a lot of wars I guess could be considered that. But anyway, what I forget what I was gonna say on top. Um, dude, I literally yeah, no, that's my bad. I don't remember. I was gonna say something about it being real because like something about the different effects it's gonna have being a religious
We could
war
jump around.
versus like how we went to Iraq and Afghanistan for 20 years for fucking oil or whatever. Like how that wasn't a religious war, Like I wouldn't
Right.
consider
That
OEF
that
and
would have
IEF
been that would have
necessarily
so
religious wars.
us going to like Iraq and Afghanistan and Kuwait and stuff like to take their oil, like if that belief is just so what you're saying is the cynical reason, really.
Right. No, like yeah, altogether well what I'm saying is
What is
like
the
there's a
cynical
there's a
reason? But
couple of reasons we
that
went there
is
and shit,
as
but like
cynical as it gets is for religion, yeah, and that's all it's about. If some people would argue that the Palestinians have been treated unfairly with like they think that that's rightfully their land, and like they're basically all sanctioning each other off because uh like the religion, they just can't stand each other.
mhm.
Israel, though, however, it is important to note, has never instigated warlike rhetoric or action. They haven't. But also, like, so if you look at Gaza, the place under siege right now, it's kind of small in Israel, but the Palestinians have an either even bigger encampment. That's what you call them as encampments. The West Bank that runs right up next to Jerusalem and borders Jordan and the Dead Sea. The West Bank is a huge encampment for Palestinians. So I don't really want to hear the argument come back that this war was because Gaza is so populated. Like there's as Muslims, they have a lot of different places they can go.
Yeah,
And or
that's
they could
no
just
that
get over their shit and co exist.
right. But no, that's 100%. No, there's no way. I don't think anyone. Well, I wouldn't believe that it's based on fucking overpopulation or not. That just sounds like bullshit. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's always over something bigger. But yeah, like I feel like a religious reason is always a strong driving force. Like, which as sad as it is, because come to find out that you know we don't. No one really knows what happens, right, until we die, and then that's when you're gonna fucking find out, right? But like, just imagine like all these people getting killed over a religious war that fucking for a God that doesn't even exist. In their case, or
Dude,
what I'm saying.
what's
It's
worse
like,
about it is it's funded by us.
yeah,
It's all
oh yeah,
humanitarian aid. And
yeah,
people are saying, well, no, like the funds that we released to Iran, that were locked up in South Korea over sanctions, that it was like something billion. Like it had tariffs on it that meant it can only go to humanitarian and funds and like water treatment and stuff for the people, They're like, so a lot of people are arguing that that wasn't a mistake on our part, right? So that fund, that money, that billions of dollars came from America, was
hmm
seized for reasons because of these freaking proxies. And they're like, yeah, you can't, they couldn't, that money never made it to Hamas, because that's essentially what we're arguing too. Like that was a huge chunk. It's coming from way more avenues, even in America. Most of its funding comes from the EU, but a lot of that's even American. And
hmm
but that, so what I'm saying is, even if you were able to somehow track and Iran's president was like, no, right before they even got the money, they're like, we're gonna do whatever we want with the money, Like he said this since before, but then we released it, and a lot of our side, or one side, is saying that money was used to support Hamas. The other side is saying no because that had the tariffs on it. But that just released, no matter what you say, that just released 1.7 billion sitting in their account already that has no jurisdiction or governance over it other than Iran's, and to Hamas. It's getting to Hamas is all I'm saying. So what's more fucked up about it being a religious war and what you were explaining is that, and we're not even with them. I'm not saying we're standing with them, but we're funding
exactly.
them.
We're total different religion, total different.
They exist because
Um,
of us.
absolutely, dude. Sorry, I just had to choke there for a second. Um,
Oh yeah,
yeah, no, 100%, dude. I was looking at a map because I think it's so interesting, especially so just that whole area of the fucking world is constantly. I mean, tensions like you said, they've been. I mean, you can take this track this war back to like similar shit that they were doing in the 1930s before World War II started, where Germany was trying to get rid of the Jews in that instance. And well, it also kind of makes you wonder, why do so many religions hate the Jews? But like with this whole area of the world, they just fucking hate each other. You know what I'm saying? You've got Jordan, Syria, and Israel, like that whole border. Lebanon, the Gaza. I mean, the Gaza
Lebanon,
Strip
they're
is
fighting Israel right
constantly.
now too. That's not being talked about. It's Hezbollah. It's another Iranian proxy group coming out of Lebanon. So it's not Lebanon versus Israel, but the war or the battle is happening on that border. So Israel's dealing with that too.
Mm-hmm. And the
But
and
yeah,
the
it's
and the Gaza
different
Strip. I mean,
country.
how often is there fucking shit going down at the Gaza Strip? You know what I mean? And then you've got,
Right.
I'm pretty sure, I'm trying to find it on a bigger map, but the what's it called? The Suez Canal is leading up to that, um, which
It
is
does.
known to
It
be
does.
pirated and it's dangerous. Do you know what I'm saying? So that whole area of the world is, I guess what I'm getting at is just a fucking uh it's just war. It's constantly in war um and conflict. You know what I mean?
Dude, it
None
is.
of
And
them.
the
They all
Gaza
border each other and they all hate each other. They border each other, and they all somehow have a different religion and they fucking all hate each other. And it's
Gaza
um
was like the in my head too. And I'm not like a battlefield doctor, like I don't know everything, but like Gaza is just essentially, think of Normandy, Japan, or sorry, Normandy, Japan, Normandy, France. Whenever we invaded it, right?
mhm,
As soon as we busted through and we got our footing, like ma- basically settled into Normandy,
mhm,
like we were able to make shit happen from there. We had taken a piece of property that was bordered by nothing but water, which makes logistics a lot harder to surround someone, you know. But now supply point, and that's all Gaza is to me, because Gaza is a strip that sits. So basically, its whole western side, its whole western side is bordered by the Dead Sea, or the Mediterranean Sea. Sorry, the Mediterranean Sea. So the Gaza Strip and Hamas starting this issue there, is just like Normandy, but without having to assault the beach. It's just a place where they had their back into water, and now they can make stuff happen. And they're even moving in towards the West Bank, which is all still Israel, right? But Israel kind of is in between. Like the Jewish portion of Israel is all in between that. It's wild, dude. It's the perfect fucking storm.
It really is. And just, I guess I wanted to add, just for anyone that wouldn't know this, you know, from whatever experience or whatever the case, but the military, the American military, constantly has naval ships in and out of like those waters and all around that area cyclically, you know what I mean? Like year round.
Yeah,
24 fucking 7. There's always American ships in that area because they cycle through, you know, obviously we know, but people wouldn't. But yeah, there's always, so what I'm saying is, as soon as anything, like you said, we're funding this entire fucking war. And as soon as anything really, really big pops off, we could be the first ones there to either be the heroes, to claim, to fuck, you know, like there's so many things, because people might not know, but we have thousands of Marines and sailors probably within hours of that, you know, the region. Do you know what I mean? All the time,
exactly.
all the time.
And what the potential is from that is, like you're saying, Mr. Popper, is we can be anywhere within 24 hours. We could be there, and we could carry more destruction than Israel has shown in the Gaza, right? Anywhere. That's like what America can do in the world. I don't give a fuck if you're a settlement in Antarctica. If you fuck up in 24 hours, we can literally turn your surroundings into hell, right? Why we don't, like, is the same thing that just happened today, is because too many people cry and we can't go in there and take action. It's
Right.
It was explained so well by someone else. The only thing that's holding America back right now from doing the right thing and going in and eliminating Hamas is the Geneva Convention, as well as which is laws of war and a governing body of it. And people's outcries for these, like, I'm with it. No life should be lost wrongfully. Like, a Palestinian who is just trapped in this.
Dude, I don't know. I'm pretty sure I just heard gunshots outside. I don't know what the fuck's going on, dude. I think there's fucking. Hang on, dude. I
You
gotta
want to
hang on
go
1 sec.
investigate?
Just give me 1 minute.
Yeah, I got you. No worries. We're interested.
Dude, what the fuck? I guess I officially live in the ghetto. I don't. It's dark as fuck, so I can't see. Um, but dude, I'm pretty sure I just heard some gunshots. My neighbor, though, we get coyotes here. My neighbor could have been shooting coyote or something, but
Yeah. I can see that.
I didn't see anyone. I mean, like I said, it's dark, but I didn't see anyone outside. But also I didn't see his lights on in his house, and I don't think they're. I think they're
Do you
away
want
for
to
the
go run
holidays.
a little CQB real quick, or what? Is that
No,
what
I'm
you're
not too
asking
worried
for?
about it.
You just
But
got to urge
no,
to go
I'm
run
just
CQB around the house.
no.
And you're
I'm
Mr.
good.
Popper.
I'm not too worried. I got fucking weapons in every house or in every room of my house. But fucking but Zeus definitely. I know for sure. I think it was gunshots because Zeus is up. I hear Zeus downstairs walking around,
Is
and
he?
he was taking a nap. So if he's walking around, he heard something too. So it's weird. I do not know.
Yeah. Well, I'll keep an eye on your six here while I'm sitting here. Let you know if someone peeks through the blinds behind you or something.
I appreciate that.
Hell yeah. But what I was
Yeah,
saying
very
was,
fucking weird.
so like no Palestinian should die, but that's where I say, the men and women of those families need to. It's unfortunate, but you need to grab your thing and whatever that might be to give you some confidence and get yourself and your family out of there. There's plenty of people right now reaching out to help you, as in visas and stuff. That's unfortunately always a concern, but for the time being, like, that's all I can say. These fucking savages are within you and they need to be eliminated. You need out. October 7th, you should have left. That's whenever, if something happens here, like that's the mentality I want to go with this show is, if that shit happened here, I'm out. Like, I'm thinking about what is best for my family. Where do I get them? Get out, because this shit can happen. Because I know that these people need to be eliminated as soon as possible. Like, we need people, whenever this happens. This is kind of bad, because like this can't be mistaken with like a government could use this excuse any day. So I'm glad it doesn't happen like that. But what I was just thinking was, you need to evacuate an area to make it ready to be bombed in these instances, because essentially these Hamas is sticking with their resources right now. The resources and material items are all in Gaza, in these trenches. It's not like us who can keep flooding in supplies and airdrop materials in whenever we need them. All of their everything they're using is there, and it needs to be destroyed.